Penguin Random House presents The Secrets We Keep by Sudeep Nagarkar. Read by Harish Moilee. Prologue. If you could forget a relationship that fleetingly existed in the past, would you? If your past could be erased, would you erase it? Sadly, you have no choice in this matter because I, your past, am invincible. Mysterious and unseen, I am the master of the dark and light and everything in between. I am a force of nature, an unstoppable wave that will tame you by taking away every last bit of your strength until you regret ever standing in my path. A king of manipulation at its finest, I will see into the soul of the characters in this story long before they catch a glimpse and change the way they think. I am the only God and the only devil, and I am here to destroy you, because without destruction, there's no creation. If you think you can escape me, you are already doomed. Chapter 1. The house was a two-story building surrounded by palm trees. The main feature of the dining room was a large oak table around which a family sat enjoying their dinner. The family consisted of Akriti and her parents. To potential onlookers, they seemed happy, taking bites of their food and exchanging smiling glances with each other. The father paused after a bite and cleared his throat. This is about his family. Where are they? And why are they silent? We can't just allow things to proceed without an assurance from them. Before Akriti could answer, the sound of a fork banging on a plate caused them to turn to face her mother. After all, it's your happiness that matters the most to us. But for that, we have to make sure you're in the right hands. Akriti made her way towards her room on the upper floor and slammed the door. She leaned against it and closed her eyes. Her face was pale with exhaustion and fatigue. She turned to place her ear against the door. Her parents were still arguing. These days, they were always arguing, and most of the time, she was their subject. She shook her head and began changing into her night clothes to sleep the awful night away. As she walked towards the bed, she thought she heard a noise above her head. The house did not have an attic, so at first the sound confused her, and then alerted her when she heard another and then another. It sounded like footsteps on her roof heading to her parents' bedroom. She froze, not moving until the sounds were farther away from her. She took a deep breath, switched off the lights, and quickly walked to her parents' bedroom, where they were still arguing behind their own closed door. She raised her hand to knock, when all of a sudden she heard the sound of breaking glass, her mother's screams, and a gunshot. Her eyes filled with tears as she registered what could have taken place. Find the girl, a deep, muffled voice ordered. Frightened, Akriti rushed to her room once more, closing the door behind her. She frantically looked around for a place to hide. She considered hiding under the bed, but went into her closet instead, closing her eyes and praying for a miracle. She held her breath and willed her heart to stop pounding when she heard her room door opening and the soft footsteps of an intruder entering her private space. Beads of sweat dripped down the sides of her face as the stranger walked towards her bed, lifting the delicate bedspread to see if she was hiding underneath. Rahul! A man's voice called from the hallway. Here! The voice from the room answered. Her parents are in the master bedroom. The voice from the hallway said. It sounded familiar, but she didn't dare come out. I flashed my torchlight and alarmed the two bad guys, but we were too late. She strained her ears to hear more of the conversation, but it seemed curiously muffled. She stood and pressed her ear to the door of the closet, holding her breath and waiting for whatever was going to happen next. A few moments later, she let out a breath, inhaling the darkness and trying to make sense of the events that had just taken place. She reached for the doorknob when suddenly it was yanked open and she stood staring at two men holding handguns. As the men realized who they were pointing their guns at, they relaxed and lowered them. Stepping back, they stood looking at each other. When Akriti realized the two men were Rahul and his friend Nirav, she instinctively hugged Rahul. "There is nothing to worry about. Your parents are okay. However, we didn't manage to apprehend the guys. I'm sure they were associated with the same mission. Nirav was keeping an eye on your house, so we were able to get here in time. Why are they trying to kill me?" Akriti was still out of breath. "You'll have to come with us. Only you, not your parents," Rahul ordered, ignoring her question. Her parents, who were now standing unharmed next to Akriti, stared at each other with blank expressions. "What's happening? And where are you taking her?" Akriti's dad was worried. There were so many questions he did not have the answer to. Akriti sat at a table with Rahul and Nirav by her side. The room was cold and lifeless. The entire area resembled an isolation camp. The meeting room, the one she was currently seated in, had only steel tables, a few chairs, and a large screen on the wall. The screen in front of them flickered on, and Akriti found herself staring at a face that could only belong to a person of authority, judging by his stern demeanor. "Good job, team. This is not an easy task, considering we do not know why these events are happening. There could be spy agencies involved. Although I would have preferred that you had got hold of those attackers, it is good to know that the entire family is safe." Director Rajiv Jain. Rahul addressed the screen. "Akriti's parents are not in town for the next half of the month. They are leaving for Jaipur tomorrow to attend a family wedding. Since Akriti is going to be alone, it would be in her best interests if she were somewhere safer." The director thought for a moment before asking, "Do you have a location in mind, Rahul?" Rahul nodded. "You might as well go ahead then. Remember, her safety is our primary concern. If necessary, take some time off. Is that clear?" "As crystal, Director. Thank you." The man on the screen disappeared. Rahul sighed with relief, lost in his thoughts for a brief moment before realizing Nirav and Akriti were staring at him in wonder. "What?" He snarled at them. "Where are you taking me without my permission?" Akriti raised her eyebrows. "To my house." "Your house? Are you serious? When was the last time you visited your house, or even spoke to your family?" Akriti scanned his face, searching for answers, as she knew that Rahul was not on speaking terms with his family. Rahul held her by her shoulders and looked into her eyes. "Now that I have some time on my hands, I want us to take the next step in our relationship." Nirav had a grin on his face. "That is out of character for you, Officer Rahul. Considering we have company." Akriti teased, indicating Nirav's presence. "Do we?" Rahul smiled, his eyes locked on Akriti's face. In his mind, he contemplated how long it had been since he'd left his house. It had indeed been a very long time. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. We should have stopped him, but we didn't. We should have persuaded him to stay. Perhaps he would have stayed. There are so many questions."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?